watching Tea with Katriel, a Hard Vibes Media production. Tea with Katriel, Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show Tea with Katriel. I am your host, Katriel. Today, co-hosting with me is none other Q Moves. Hey! So, we have a very interesting topic and we have beautiful, interesting guests today. We are going to be talking about red flags in relationships. Oh, girl, I can't wait. Oh, my God. Have you ever wondered, being in a relationship, if you had seen the signs, Well, let's hear the opinions today. So, joining us today, I have Anita, and I also have a gospel artist from Nigeria, Mr. Kaydee Numbere. So, we will get back, and we're going to talk about the red flags in relationship. Let's take a minute.
Keep going back to the basics. If you want to make progress.
Society Today's Show.
And we all have to work together as one.
A Hard Vibes Media production, bringing communities together, discussing real issues with real people in today's world.
Wow, welcome, guys. Anita, Kaydee, welcome to the show. Hello.
Thank you. Hello.
How are you?
Doing good.
Good. Okay, Kaydee, do you want to introduce yourself to the audience?
I'll let the lady go first.
Oh, that's sweet. Okay. So, if you don't know me, I'm sure you've heard of me. My name is Anita Abwaje. Simply call myself an artist, but everybody else sees me to be, multi-talented. The co-founder of African Fashion Week. Aside from that, I run my own personal business, which is mother-daughter clothing line called Kaydee Couture. And I do music as well. I do hip hop and jazz. You can find my music on YouTube as Empress Music or For My People, and it's spelled the number 4, MY, Peep and Pull. So just like that, you would just find me For My People on YouTube. Aside from all the other things that I dabble into, I'm really an advocate for staying healthy, living an alkaline life, not really falling for the genetically modified foods, and just trying to stick to the godly made food that God has made for us. So that's me. Hey girl, welcome to the show.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, Mr. Kaydee, you want to let us know who you are?
Okay, I'm Kaydee Numbere, a gospel artist based in Nigeria. You can check me out on YouTube, iTunes, Apple Music, whatever online store or medium, you can find me there. If you really love African music, I'm sure you love my sound. I do a fusion of different things like African music with pop, reggae, jazz, a lot of stuff. My new album will be out soon, next 2 months. Trust me, it's going to blow your minds if you love African music.
Yeah.
I'm also a speaker in conferences, a motivational speaker. I have a passion for young people because down here in Africa, we have a lot of issues. So we're experiencing a lack of mentorship and grooming. So I spend a lot of time talking to young people, mentoring and empowering young people. So that's me in a nutshell.
Nice. Wow. Youth empowerment. Wow. 2 strong personalities. I tell you. Hey. Oh, shit. That means. All right. So let's get down to the tea of the day. So today, are you ready?
Girl, I'm ready.
With this one.
I'm ready.
So we are talking about relationship red flags to avoid. Red flags to avoid in relationships. So
as we all know, Nita, Kaydee, Quincy, we all know that a lot of people get into relationships. Sometimes down along the line, there's like, oh my gosh, why didn't I see this? Like there are signs there, we ignore signs. So with that, what do you think should be the first thing people should look out for when going? Let's start with the beginning, right now, right? Like when you meet someone, you like the person, you want to go out on a date. Like, what's your take? What should be like a sign for you to look out for?
When you go out on a date?
Yes, yeah. Like, let's say you're.
I would say if you go on a date and the man eats the last piece of chicken, that's a sign. That is a sign.
Yeah.
Seriously, if a man is gonna eat that last piece of chicken, girl, you need to know that he is definitely a greedy gut.
Oh my
No, seriously, it's a sign. He is a greedy gut, and chances are he is definitely gonna fill his belly before yours. So that's a good sign to look out for.
I've never thought about that. But that's why you say that's why it's good we're all here together, because then what you're thinking could be different from what someone else is thinking. So what would be your sign on the first date?
On the first date, like, is he polite? Does he respect your opinion?
Pretend. On the first date. Yeah.
Conversation, I think you can tell, right?
Yeah.
I would say that on the first date, it is possible to see a little red flag. Okay? For example, does he respect your choices? Maybe you want to eat red meat and he wants white meat. And then he's trying to convince you to eat red meat, and he's trying to tell you why you should not eat red meat. Right? And then I'm going for the argument, the reason why you want to eat white meat. That is the red flag. What are you trying to force me to eat white meat when I like red meat?
So basically, so what you're saying is, if you're on a date and the guy is not respecting your opinion, or your choices, that's the red flag. For me, it is. Okay, Kaydee, what do you have to say if you're on a date with a girl? And what would be the red flag? The guy.
Yeah. Well, the truth is, I feel on the first date or couple of dates, people pretend. It's really very difficult to pick flags here and there. But I'll say if you go with a guy, so I'll speak from I'll just speak generally to the ladies and to the guys. So if as a lady you go out on a date and the man spends his time talking about himself, that's a red flag. Okay, he's not listening to what you're saying. He's not interested in what you do. He just wants to tell you about himself. He's very braggadocious. That shows he's very arrogant. And like he said, which is true, he doesn't respect your opinion. Okay, I tell people, if you're going out on a date, it's good to talk about a lot of issues because we're all from different backgrounds and we have different values. Okay. So sometimes some men, based on the upbringing, do not cannot live with opinionated ladies. Okay, so the thing is, what might be a red flag for you might not be a red flag for me.
That's true.
Okay, so based on your upbringing and what you like, there's some women who love arrogant men. Okay, some women don't like men who are quiet. They like men who talk a lot. So it depends on what your upbringing, what you consider to be too much, okay, and not okay. So you watch out for those things. So I can say personally, my own red flag for a lady will be a lady who's impolite. Okay, if I'm out with you, you're not polite to the staff. You order too much, okay? Yes, because I like to pay. Yeah, I like to pay for dinner if I'm taking a lady out. I like to pay, right? But if I feel if you're meeting somebody for the first time, when you guys are friends, okay, you've become friends, then you can express that. But even mean much. But on the first date, you want to crash the man's account.
If a girl came on a date with her friend, is that a red flag?
I know.
Well, if she's gonna come with a friend, then she should let me know.
Okay.
You don't show up you shouldn't show up on a date without letting me know, and I shouldn't do the same to you. So these are some of the things. If you do that to me, I'm like, okay, I'll probably tell you afterward, especially let's say I'm on a budget. Okay, I've said, okay, you know what, for this date, I'm going to spend $2,000 or $1,000. And then you bring someone else and I have to spend $4,000. That was on my budget. I would be pissed off. Yeah. So you should always, that's what I'm talking about, being polite. Okay. Tell me, I want to come with a friend. Is that okay? Because sometimes meeting someone the first time, she might not be comfortable. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just meeting you for the first time. I want to come with someone else. If a guy gets angry about that, then that also tells you the kind of person he might be or what he wants. Because for me, a first date is about getting to know the person. Yeah. It doesn't have to be romantic. Okay, so people always want to jump the gun. So take your time and know the person. So if the person says, okay, I want to come along with my friend, that makes me more comfortable. Sometimes I might be wrong, but ladies say, okay, if they trust the girl's opinion, right? They want to come with that friend that they trust her opinion, so that they can also
analyze the situation.
Analyze. Which sometimes might be dangerous because the girl might also like the guy, but that's a story for another day.
That's what I'm saying, right? So for me, if a girl or a guy would come with a friend to a date just to get their opinion, that tells me that you don't have a mind of your own. That's also a red flag. Mm-hmm. Right? So you're right, Kaydee. There's so many things that intersect that could be red flag. But let's talk about actually being in a relationship now. Mm-hmm. You've already passed that stage of the red flags in the beginning, and now you're actually in an intimate relationship. Family members. If you're dating a guy or a girl and you never meet their family, is that a red flag?
I'll answer this one. I dated someone who was very annoyed every time my mother calls me. And in the beginning, I didn't really take notice of it as an issue. But when the relationship prolonged, I could see the anger in the person's face every time my mom will call. And I have a routine of speaking to my mom for hours. Sometimes I don't realize how long I've been on the phone with my mom because it's a thing that I do all the time. Yes. And the man said, "Tell your mom it's my turn." Yes. He said, "Tell your mother it's my turn. She needs to get up." What? Honestly, at the time, I didn't really realize. I thought he was just love. Oh my, he loves me so much. He just doesn't even want me to talk to my mom. But then when we got deeper into the relationship, I realized it's a red flag for me because how are you trying to have a relationship with my mom when she calls me at the times when she's off work? My mom does like shift work. So the time she'll be calling me to him is the time that I need to be in bed with him.
Oh, wow.
You see, so he doesn't understand, she's had you her whole life. This is the time that I'm having you. I think I should be able to spend time with you without her interrupting, our relaxation time. And I'm like, but this is the time she's off work and this is the only time I can communicate with her. So when we couldn't compromise, for me, it became an issue. I can't be with a man that doesn't understand, this is an old lady. How long does she have left? Yeah. Who cares if she's going to call me? Even if she's going to call me at 5 a.m., I don't care. It's my mom. I think she should be able to call me at any time. Right. Especially being that I'm the oldest child. Who else is she going to call?
Right. And that's so true, the compromise.
And it freaked me out that he did not want to compromise. He literally said if she cannot call you during business hours, she shouldn't call you at all.
That is so controlling too.
Kaydee, what do you think of all that is together?
Control. This woman.
You asked the question, You asked the question about what she said or about
Yes, about what she said about the man not wanting to. Yeah,
And he was refusing to compromise. So that's he had to come in the middle. He refused.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, probably the way he was brought up, it was probably brought up in an individualistic family, you know. So, is he African? Yeah, is he African?
No, he's not. He's Canadian.
Exactly. So if he was African, he will understand what that he will understand what that means. Like, okay, when your parents call you, these are your parents. Like, how can you not let me talk to my mom? So there's no way he will understand that. Do you get my point? So that's what I'm saying. It depends on your upbringing, your culture. Once a red flag, and I'm sure he's like, he cannot just understand what you're talking about. As an African,
he has no clue. No.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah. So as an African, I will understand that, but he wouldn't understand, or any other African man probably brought up that way, the way Africans are brought up. You know, some Africans are brought up different ways, but this particular way you're talking about, will understand what you're talking about. So at the end of the day, red flags are also dependent on our upbringing,
our backgrounds.
Our backgrounds. Okay. So, for example, you ask them if you're in a relationship and doesn't take you to see your family. All right. I've seen different scenarios. For some guys, they want to take you to their parents when they are sure they want to be with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I don't want to take you to my mom, and then tomorrow I'm bringing someone else, and next tomorrow I'm bringing someone else. I don't want to look like a child to my mom or my dad or to my family. Mm-hmm. While some people, okay, they have that relationship with their parents that they meet you the next day, they want to take you home. So these things vary, you know. So you have to know who you're dating, and if you guys communicate very well as friends, if he's in a situation where he's like, okay, you know what, this is how it works in my home, I need to be sure of what I'm doing before you guys should be able to communicate. So it makes sense to you. If it doesn't make sense to you, it's still up to you to say, you know what, I can't deal with this. Because sometimes, what if you're in a hurry to go see the parents, and then in the middle of the relationship, you see that this guy was not worth it, and you've done all the introductions and all of that. So patience is also key.
You know, I feel sometimes when you meet his parents too, it can be a write-off.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody has ever been in a situation where, you know, the person is so eager or so excited about you and the relationship, and then immediately when you meet the parents, you're like, hell's no.
That's what I'm saying.
I was just a bit of comments from
no way.
And the upbringing.
Yes.
You grew up in a different culture and upbringing is another thing. The person to be willing to learn. Right?
Agreed.
Because yes, we all have different backgrounds, different cultures, or whatever. But is this person willing to learn and willing to compromise and come in the middle to meet you? You guys understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because for me, culture and how they grew up, yes, that's true. But is the person willing to learn?
Some come off like they are willing to learn. And they will give that idea to you in the early part of the relationship, like they're willing to learn. But for me, what bothers me is when I hear certain remarks about who I am as a person and where I'm coming from. Because I've dated Canadians, I've dated Jamaicans, I've dated whomever, but there is a thing that someone will say that will just completely turn me off, because they come off like they want to learn the culture, they want to be part of the culture, especially Canadian, Black Canadians, okay, African Canadians that are here, they want the whole culture, but then when you start telling them, like, this is not an African thing, Africans don't do this, you know, then they start to, I'm not from the jungle, I don't swing on, like, those type of remarks, those type of remarks tells you if this person is for the long term, or literally just for the days that you've met him. Because if somebody's able to make such a remark, but then say that they want to learn or they want to be part of a certain culture, you know, for me, it won't click well with me. Like how you speak to your children, for instance. If I see you talking to your kids and you're like, come here, little bitch.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's okay to call your daughter a little bitch, but to me, I'm wondering if I had a daughter with you, is that what you're gonna call my daughter?
Exactly.
Right. Red flags.
That's why I feel, yes, I understand what Mr. Kaydee is saying, that, you want to get to know the person first before you introduce to your family. But I personally feel like if I want to date you, like for those people who are single and looking for serious relationship, what are your relationship goals? If your relationship goals is to date someone that would lead to long-term or possibly marriage, right? I want to get to meet your family because your family is your baggage. You understand what I mean? I want to know if I can handle that baggage. What kind of drama is in your family? What kind of dirt is in there? I want to know if I can take the heat. You know what I mean? So yes,
what they put up with and what they don't put up with.
Right. I want to meet them. I want to meet them. I don't care if they're like, oh, you're bringing a girl home and oh gosh, he did it. Who cares? I want to see your people, because a lot of people have made mistakes and they have gone so deep into the relationship and they're like, okay, I think we're ready for this. Let's introduce each other to our families, and then they meet the family, and then it becomes like too much trauma, disaster. So are you saying it's best to meet the family members before you go deep in the relationship? Is that what you're saying? I think so.
I think so too.
I think so.
Well,
That would be heartbreak too.
Well, like I said, it depends on the individual. Like I said, some people prefer it before, some people prefer it later. So, but for me as a guy, right, or if I was a lady, right, if I met a man, this is my opinion, right, and I'll use a little bit of the Bible. Okay, the Bible says a man should leave his father and his mother. Okay, so what makes you a man is to be independent and have your opinions. Now, one of the problems we have with men, I don't know, African men, I don't know, is this, that, especially with the African culture, many of them think that they are men, but they're still children, because what they want to do is dependent on what their parents say. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't honor your parents. I'm not saying you shouldn't honor your parents. I'm not saying you shouldn't.
Hit that spot one more time.
But you should be able to say, this is what I want to do. Okay? Now, and that is where the challenge is. So usually in a relationship with a girl, both of you, and that's why I always say, right, if you're in a relationship, both of you should always be on the same page. So when you meet your parents and they have different opinions on the way things should go, if both of you are on the same page, it is impossible for anybody to shift you.
Absolutely.
So that's where the challenge is. So you speak with the lady and you guys agree, and then you go to your parents and you're afraid.
And
Mommy, Dad, this is what I want to do.
But let's not forget that some families are very dangerously manipulated.
And that's why you should be the man. That's my point. If you're a man, okay, and you've always acted as a man, okay, your parents will respect your opinion. And I've seen that over time. Usually when you see guys afraid of their parents so much, is because over time, they have not been able to convince their parents in their activities and the things they do that they are men. Okay,
they can't man up to their parents.
You should disrespect your parents I'm not saying you should dishonor your parents, but you should be able to talk to your parents when,
Make
this is the way it should be.
decisions by
Dad,
yourself.
make decisions by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is where I think the challenge is. Okay, so for me personally, right, I think it was easier for me because over time, I was able to say, okay, this is what I want to do. What do you think? Or this is what I have disagreements, make up with it. So when I made up my mind that this is what I wanted to do, it wasn't a problem. So that's what I think. So irrespective of whether it's before or after, because even if you meet them before, right, they might be very nice people. They can pretend to be nice people, okay? And they might not really like you, but they may not tell you. They'll tell the guy, okay, and he's afraid to tell you. And then when it's time to get married, you now start hearing stuff, and he starts listening to mommy. You say, this is what I want. So for me, the way I see a relationship is, I think the man should be able to love the woman, especially when it comes to weddings. Weddings, for me, weddings are for women. It's their day. This is what they want to do. Okay, so you do whatever is happy. Okay, so these things vary. Some people think the work is for the woman. So if you made a man who feels everything should be the woman, everything should be the woman's work. If you're fine with that, it's okay. If you can cope with that, that's okay. But if you're a woman who wants a man to make the decisions, lead, okay, and you meet a man who's behaving like he's 60, then that's not okay. That's a red flag. Okay, I've seen homes where the woman takes the lead all the time, and it's worked. Their marriages are beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay? The man is usually laid back, and the woman takes him. It works for them. So it depends on what works for you. Both of you should come and have, and it comes down to values at the end of the day. What are your values? What are his values? Now, when it comes to learning, like you were saying, and compromise, it's still down to values. So, for example, if you say, do you want to learn the African culture? And the African culture says this, okay, and he says, okay, I'm willing to learn. He also has his culture and his opinions that he wants you to learn. So if he's in his culture, he's not okay with you calling your mom 50 times a day. Are you ready to also compromise and learn that you're not supposed to call your mom at the end of the day? Or you say, okay, instead of calling 50 times, exactly. So if not something that you can cope with, that's a red flag, right? Yeah. And for you, that's a red flag. So that's why I see it all boils down.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. I don't have very good luck. Yeah, I don't have very good luck with African men. And I think it's because I've put it in my head that majority of African men just have their mothers involved in their relationship. And I'm the type of woman that in previous relationship, I'm very bold. I don't have a problem having a sister sit down with your mom and letting her know. Just like how this man said, it's his turn with my mom. But I find that a lot of African men, value their mother's opinion. Yeah. And if their mom says, this is not the woman for you, it does not matter how much they are in love with the person, they will listen to their mom. Right? And that's, for me, is a red flag too. Because if I meet an African, he's just like, yeah, me and my mom, I'm running because I'm like, I'm running because I don't want to be in a relationship with any man who is like this with his mom. And even how I'm gonna, you know me with my freaky lip colors and whatnot, and I come meet your mom and your mom is like, who's this freak? You know what I mean? So it's kind of intimidating for me that I rather date outside of my culture because I just feel like every African man that mom is going to have an opinionated mom who's going to try to make decisions for them. And for me, I can't have that.
All African men are like that too. A lot of them. The majority of them. And it takes sometimes they have to learn in the that you don't get your mother involved. And yes, Anita, you may be right, because when you see a man that's this tied to his mother, technically you're dating the man and the woman. Right. It's a love triangle, right? So yeah, that
but we have to also remember we're mothers and pastors. this is something I would not want from honestly.
Right. So we need to.
I have an 18-year-old dating a Japanese girl. And for the longest time, I thought I wouldn't be okay with it. And, when I met the girl, just, looking at her and how she was, I understand cultural differences. And that was the first thing I had to put in my head. Listen, lady, she is not black. One, she's Japanese, and two, she's not black. So certain things that she's going to do in my house, I can't watch her and be like, and I'll tell you an experience with me as a teenager. I had an African boyfriend. I went to his mom's house or whatever. We finished eating and I left the plate in the sink. You guys already know what's going to happen. African mom. She nearly fried my head. Where are you coming from? You have no manners. You don't even know how to wash dishes. And I'm feeling like I just came to your house and I didn't want to ask for the soap and the sponge. Like, I don't want to act like I'm from here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because some people will also say, why is she acting like she's so good of a girl? Even washing my plates too.
That's
do that.
Hard. That's true. You don't know how to act. Yes.
Exactly, because I don't know if I did the dishes, she'll say something. If I didn't do the dishes, she'll still say something.
It's true.
So what do you do? And I ended up not doing the dishes, and you already know what she told her son. Forget that one.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to an African mom's house, okay, sorry to diss you a bit, but you're going to an African home, you should know what is obtainable in an African home.
Oh, I did.
Exactly. So that's the point. So were you also willing to learn the culture of the man who you were going to his place? So it's compromise. All right, this might not be my thing. If I'm in my house with you, I might not be comfortable doing the dishes, and you are fine with that. That's fine. But I'm going to your mom's house, and this is obtainable. So I feel like knowing you were going there, you should have done it. You wouldn't have taken anything from you. Exactly. So for his mom, that was a red flag. So that's what I'm saying. These things have to do with compromise. Love will make you do something that normally you wouldn't want to do. Because after that, you probably may have not seen the mom for years. So that little time to sacrifice wouldn't have taken anything. So that's what I always maintain. Because no matter how much he loved you, right, it would have been difficult to convince his mom that this is the girl for me. So it's like, you mean you don't have manners? Because you didn't wash the plates. And that's an African thing. I'm sure 80% of African women will say the same.
Mm-hmm. It's
absolutely.
Okay, I have one more question.
Okay, go on.
I'm going to expand on it on another show, but I have to ask this question, okay? This red flag, you're dating someone, and this someone happens to be best friends with your ex. Wow. No.
It just depends. For me, it depends.
Wait, she say something?
Yeah, for me, it depends. The relationship that I had with my ex. And I'm saying the type of relationship I had with my ex because if it was the type of relationship that made me run, and I run, I'm talking spirit, mind, everything.
Body, soul.
Saying, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are.
Yes.
And this happens to be my current man's best friend. Girl, this is another marathon. I'm running.
Exactly.
I'm gone. I ain't staying because it depends on what we broke up off on, right? My breakups are usually, irresponsibility because I'm very hardworking. So if a man shows me a little bit of like, I just relax, I don't feel like running the same pace as you, and I find that my ambition usually doesn't match the men that I go for. So right now I just taken a seat back and just said, relax, because if they come and they match you, it's perfect. But I'm not going to go searching. I feel like when I go searching, I end up with the wrong one. So now relax and search you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, girl.
But if the breakup was because of something that it really meant to me, and this person is best friends with that person, I gotta check the man's values. I gotta check, certain things about him. Maybe I missed them, because if that's his best friend, why, didn't you know? Do you know what I mean? There should have been a sign of something that made you know, like, he's similar to your ex.
Yeah.
If they're best friends, they might as well be the same person.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
I thought maybe I didn't hear well, but I thought the question was, if you're
dating his best friend with your ex. Is that the question?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well,
You're dating
for a guy, right? If I didn't know, okay. Well, for guys, there's no way I wouldn't know. I can't. Some people think it's okay, but for me, I can't date my friend's girlfriend. I can't date my friend's ex. It's like a bro code. I don't know how that works. But
for women?
Same thing for
it's okay, but yeah, some people do it. But you never know. I wouldn't say that, but
they're sick in the head, because if a girl is able to date someone you're with, the whole time she was, listen, even if, and I do this a lot, like me and my girls would say, like, if my boyfriend or my man walks in the house and any of your girlfriends changes their mood, attitude, their voice, kick her out.
That's a red
her out. It's a big red flag.
I have a story to tell about that.
Tell the story. Girls only change their voice when they're interested.
Yes. There was, okay, when I was...
I'm learning. Can I write that down?
Yes. I don't want to say the whole story. Maybe after when we come off camera, I'll tell you guys what happened later. But it was just so like, oh my gosh, what in the world is going on? And to me, that was a red flag of the girl. And the funny thing is, we were really never close, but the fact that she would actually do that, I was like, girl, you is...
Oh, yeah, you can see the flag.
You are just not someone I want to... Don't even come near me.
But the problem, I think, with girls do it so openly. Guys are more concerned and more pre-calculated, because a guy is very sensitive to his best friends or to his guy friends' feelings. As to a woman, where we feel like we're slick, we can handle it, we can cover it up. So I'm not gonna play with no girl going to be in my house and start misbehaving immediately when she sees. There's a difference between seeing the tools versus seeing the man. And some girls also say a little too much. Sometimes you ain't got to discuss certain things with your girlfriends. You kind of put the images in their mind when you start talking about how of a performance that your husband can and do. And like, I feel like those are relevant. If you do that, certain girls, it's like you're opening Pandora's box.
Also, it has to be open communication. Communication is key, right? Once everyone is aware of where they stand, what's going on, and then we can all know what we can tolerate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to raise another red flag that I think we haven't talked about. Right? Men who beat women.
Now the whole topic on another day.
You don't want to try that with me, or I came from an abusive family. We will abuse you. And I mean, we will.
So, okay, like we have, this topic is so broad. It's broad. I keep having guests coming in to talk about it, because abuse is something that covers different sectors. You can talk about kids, you can talk about your spouse, you can even talk about abuse at work. Like, I have a guest who is talking about narcissism. Narcissism, right? So I don't even want to go into there, because if we start talking about abuse,
we're not gonna.
It is a
big one. It is a huge one. Yells at you, they push you, they hit you.
You gotta also look at it in a sexual way, because there are men and women who are also entangled in some sort of sexual abusive relationship, and to them it gets them off.
Entangled. Entangled, isn't it?
Okay, she's so bad, guys. I apologize. She's so man.
I have to use entanglement because there's only sexual entanglement. That will bring people's mind to abuse. Like some of these people like to be abused.
Yeah. You don't think so?
Yes.
I know so.
Women actually believe that when a man beats them up, he actually
Loves them.
Yeah.
Yes, I know someone like that. And I'm telling you, this girl, sweetheart, this girl will like abuse. When I say abuse, she will like start any sexual act with beating up her husband first. And they love each other.
Yeah. The people like that.
Look at her mouth. They love each other, abusively beat each other. And that's how they get off.
That's how they get.
Seriously, every sexual act starts with violence.
Oh my God.
Yes, I've heard about that. Yes.
That's how they do it. That's how they get off. That's their relationship.
It's finished.
Honestly, that's how they get off. And both of them are abusive to each other, and they love each other.
Wow.
In Christ. Yes, I have to add that because they go to church too. In Christ.
You have to add Christ to that one now.
I have to. They go to church every Sunday.
Wow.
Every Sunday.
Yes. And these are African people, I'm telling you. You wouldn't believe it, but from the background that for me, I come from, I've seen so many different kinds of things, and like this is the norm for her. This is her finding her soulmate because they're both the same, Yeah.
What if they end up killing, one person kills the other by mistake? What will happen?
But usually that's what happens. That's what happens because if you're dying in pleasure, it's not really death now. You're in heaven.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it.
Violence is one thing. Like, there is so much
Go, Tanti. Go eat chips.
cover today. There is finances. There's a red flag for finances. How irresponsible is this person? Do they pay their bills on time? Do they have bad credit? How are they trying to fix their credit if they have a bad credit? Some people have bad credit for maybe when they went to college, but are they responsible?
A major thing right now, especially with this recession, like
Yes.
I don't think any of us want anyone that's financially unstable. Like
Right.
it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, with what's happening in our universe, everybody knows about, the epidemic and people not having jobs and whatnot. Like, it's very important right now in dating times for us to really look at, like, are you financially educated? Do you know how to balance yourself? Do you know what you're doing in terms of building assets? Because I can't be with anybody who just wants to have fun. Like, how are we growing each other?
It's important.
It's
important. And another thing I would say that we really never touched is the sexual part. That would probably be the topic of another day, sexual compatibility. I think that's important.
And that's such a broad subject. It's such a big thing. Yeah. It's really big.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, I don't know how it is in the Nigerian community, but like in the African, like Ghanaian community, there's so much binary issues. Like people are just so like everybody's trying to sample, and I call it sample because now people are being open to like different ways of life. Like I'm not saying all the men are doing it, but there's a lot of down low brothers.
Right.
So basically, we're saying that the African culture now, instead of sticking to our actual culture, we're adapting to the Western world, which really we shouldn't, right? We should.
But we've shifted from the norm, right? The norm is a man and a woman, gets together, they leave their mother and their father's home and they start a family. But now a lot of African men have secret relationship with men.
Yeah.
Even though they're men.
And I've walked in on men.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, like that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not surprised.
Oh, wow.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
You shouldn't be. And for me, I respect a man that's fully able to say, you know what, Anita, I'm bisexual. I love both men and women. If you're going to be in a relationship with me, this is me. No, but that's tough. That's a strong man to be able to boldly say, you know what, this is me. I swing both ways. I respect that. Versus me finding it out on my own.
Yep.
That's torture. That's heartbreak.
Wow, you guys are overwhelming me right now. Like seriously, Jude, I feel like I'm so okay. So why don't we just let's just put an end right here? And I think what happened, I'm gonna have to have you guys come back because we've already passed our
Time limit.
So I want to say thank you so much, Anita, Kaydee from Nigeria. All the way from Canada to Africa today.
I'm telling you.
All right. So thank you so much for joining us today, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Anita. Thanks, Kaydee.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. So what I want you guys to do actually is to let the audience know how they can reach you. For those of you who are, let me see, what do you call it? AOPs, radio personalities, or I know there's a lot of them on social media. You do want to drop your information for your music, Kaydee, and also Anita.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Instagram at Kaydee Numbere. That's KaydeeNumbere. Kaydee Numbere. Same thing for Twitter. Same thing for Facebook. You find me there.
Okay.
And it's Kaydee as in the letter K and the D?
Yes. Kaydee. Kaydee. Kaydee Numbere.
All right. Mine is very simple. It is Ebony Anita Ghadafi. And you can find me on IG as Empress Ghadafi. My music is Book and Empress on IG. And that's about it. Once you follow me on IG, you will find all the other links. Ebony Anita Ghadafi on Facebook, and Instagram is Empress Ghadafi.
Ghadafi.
Yes.
Ghadafi.
Ghadafi.
Ghadafi as in Ghadafi.
No, Ghadafi as in Ghadafi. One F.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow.
So that's it. And you find my music and everything there as well. So
Yes.
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. She's our Nubian queen in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for coming in. I really appreciate it. Thank you for co-hosting with me today. I wouldn't have done it without her, because me, I can be very religious, but it's good to have someone else's opinion.
Mixture.
You need both, eh? There's no up without down, eh?
Exactly. It's gonna be hot and cold.
No, the Bible says, Kaydee, you can neither be hot or cold. You have to be hot.
Yeah, true.
I'm in the middle.
Good one. I didn't know the Bible said that. So you got to be warm.
Me
It
neither.
does. It says you can neither be hot nor cold.
Cool.
So that means we're neutral.
Okay.
Me and you. Me and you both. We both.
We're neutral. Yes. We're fluid.
We'll explain it to you guys later.
Okay. we all get typical.
Thank you so much, Abby.
Thank you.
So much.
You're welcome, love.
Have a great day. Thank you, Kaydee.
You too. It was a pleasure meeting you, Kaydee. I'm going to follow you.
You too.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.
That was our guest, Anita Ghadafi and Mr. Kaydee Numbere. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today on Tea with Katriel. And thank you, Quincy. She co-hosted with me today, and that was very good. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So for those of you who don't know, this is Mrs. Humu So Koje, my elder sister.
Yeah.
I call her Mama Africa. All right, guys. Thank you. I hope to see you again. Come Tea with Katriel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on YouTube. It's Hard Vibes TV, and we will see you next week. Bye.